as a young dentist today, I'm not sure. It's hard to say, whether I'd want to start my career in today's environment, just because I think it's tougher and tougher for younger dentists to find opportunities that aren't kind of corporate based, and be able to kind of follow their vision. I mean, I think most people or a lot of people go into dentistry because they kind of have that entrepreneurial spirit and they want to own a business. And I think in a way that's becoming a little bit tougher than it has been in the past.
Welcome to Investment Grade Practices podcast, where we believe private practice dentists deserve to get the lifestyle today while building an asset for tomorrow. Join your host, Victoria Peterson, to design the practice of your dreams and secure your financial independence. Let's get started.
I'm just going to record because you never know when such greatness comes out. So
Well,
I love that you get to be a dad on Mondays.
Yes, it's awesome. So we just got off of spring break and back to reality here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, thank you for joining me today on the podcast. This is a very informal. I don't know if you've listened to any of them, but they last about 15 or 20 minutes. And we talk about what it takes to grow an investment grade practice. And I think you know a little bit about that.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on the podcast and spend a little time with you.
Yeah. I'm just prepping right now, but I'll give a quick background that you're in Carson City. Are you really now only 35?
I wish.
How old are you?
44.
Thank you. I kept waking up. There's no way he's accomplished all he's accomplished and be 35 years old.
Oh man, I know. Yes.
Older than him soon.
Wish I was 35, but actually, no, I don't. I like 44.
44 is great. I love my 40s. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Well, I thought today we would talk about the benefits of partnership.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And anything you want to talk about, but that was the career path you chose. And depending on your comfort level with Randy hearing this, we can talk about the trials of partnership too.
Sure. Yeah, I was thinking, whatever you'd like to talk about. I mean, partnership, and then it's kind of interesting because I had that first stage in my career, which was all partnership, and then now I'm at a point where being the sole owner, it's kind of a change of mindset and growth and things like that. It's a little bit different than what it was when I was in a partnership.
Oh, that's perfect. That's one of my questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Well, what I love, Clint, is that you represent a model that is being just berated in the marketplace right now. And, if you're young, you can't get into practice. They're too expensive and you're debt. Don't even try. There's no good partnerships. They all fail. And you just might as well give up and sell to a DSO. That's right. That's kind of the narrative. And
no kidding.
You stand so tall and so proud and so effortless in the midst of all of that wind. And that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Do you have any questions for me before we start?
No, not really. I mean, what's best as far as answers? I mean, is it best that I just kind of keep talking and then you interject, or do you want me to kind of keep things fairly short and concise? Like what works best for you?
Oh, I have like 3 questions for you when we have 15 to 20 minutes to cover it. So it tends to be fairly conversational.
Okay.
But put yourself in the seat of, I am that 35-year-old doctor, and I've been at the DSO for about 3 to 5 years now. I'm just about sick of it, and I wish I could start on my own. Like, how in the world would I even find these opportunities?
Which is tough today.
Yeah, is it worth looking for? So you could put a plug in there and say, go to work for a productive doctor. Don't go buy a ragweed practice,
For sure.
So yeah, whatever you have to say, you've got that mentor's voice and mentor's tone. And that's what I love about you.
Well, thank you. Okay. Well, perfect.
All right. All right, Kashmir. Welcome to another episode of Investment Grade Practice. I am so thrilled to be here today with Dr. Clint Euse from Carson City, Nevada. Welcome, Clint.
Well, thank you, Victoria. It's great to be with you.
You are one of the nicest, kindest people I have ever met, and you are such a badass in the operatory and in business.
Well, wow. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
We don't have to get into the details, but you've been producing over $1,000 an hour for I don't even know how many years now. Do you?
Yeah. Well, gosh, probably, oh man, 8, 9 years, something like that. Is that it's interesting. I was just thinking about this morning. We started our journey, where I started when I started in practice and joined the practice that I currently own. I was sitting there at a desk, in my office, and I was thinking of flipping through Dental Town, and I saw an ad for PDA, and it said on there, the PDA dentist produces $1,200 an hour and takes this much vacation and everything else. And I remember at the time thinking, like, that is crazy. Like, there is no way that is possible. I think I was producing $450 an hour at the time, and so I guess just ironic in the fact that now I'm kind of 1,200, 1,300 plus in hourly production, and it's just kind of hard to believe that. And it seems, I don't want to say effortless, but it doesn't seem overwhelming, and so just kind of fun to look back at where things started.
Yeah, it's amazing. When we jumped on the phone, I said, "How is it that you have Mondays available for podcasting?" And your response was,
Well, yeah, I don't work Mondays. You know, that's, I think for me, it's interesting because like even when we started with PDA, to me, it was never really about a number. It was never about like, well, we have to, as far as like a total number, we have to, have a $5 million practice. It was always really more about kind of lifestyle and maximizing the time that we were in the office. And so, from early in my career, I was starting kind of typical working more of a 4 day, 4.5 day work week. And after going to PDA, I was like, you know what, I'm going to cut down to 3 and see what happens. And which was awesome. I mean, I was at the time, I was probably early 30s. And I didn't know anybody else that was working 3 days a week. But because of that, we had to get really good at focusing on our hourly production. And so, that's always been something that's been important to me. I have 2 boys. Well, my wife and I have 2 boys. Kelly, she's a dentist as well. And, we've always looked at more, how does dentistry kind of fit around our lifestyle? And that's been super important to us to not be kind of consumed and always at the office. And so we work a pretty awesome schedule at this point.
I love it. So talk to us a little about because Kelly works in your practice, right?
Correct. Yes.
How do you set up your schedule?
Well, so we like I said, we have 2 boys, and so we feel it's important that we spend as much time with them as possible. And so we actually alternate, or kind of have a staggered schedule where Kelly's in the office on Mondays and Thursdays, and then I'm in the office on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then usually every other Thursday is when I come in and do some of the bigger cases and things like that. And so, which is something that we're super blessed and appreciate about dentistry, is that we've been able to still kind of have our professional careers, but have that time where we can take the boys to school, pick them up from school, be involved in their sports and coaching and those kind of things.
I love it. And you said early in your career, you started out actually like right out of the gates in partnership or pretty close to it. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I joined the practice, and then worked for probably just a little less than a year, and then bought into the practice. And so, yeah, most of my practicing career has been in a partnership. Recently, is I just bought out my partner. He's still part of the practice, still practicing. But up until about a year ago, is that yes, I have been in a partnership.
I love it. And So let's dive into that a little bit. What do you think
Sure.
are the keys to success in partnership? And is there a difference in like first stage being a partner and now being a solo doctor? So that's a big chunk to bite. So we'll start wherever you want to start.
Well, I think, I mean, partnerships, there's a ton of benefits to partnerships. I mean, I think that my partner, Randy, and I, it worked really, really well, and I think that we probably beat the odds compared to a lot of partnerships that we got along really well. We had similar philosophies in practice. And I guess there's a lot of compromise. And I think that a lot of it's probably personalities. Randy was, when I joined the practice, excuse me, he, I think he's older than I am. And so he was at a stage where I think he was willing to kind of let go of the reins a little bit and let me take over as probably the younger, more energetic dentist, with big goals and dreams and visions and things like that. And so, we found in our partnership that it worked best. That I basically did most of the management running the practice, and that because of our personality types, he was okay with that, and I think trusted me and kind of saw the growth and saw the benefits of doing that. And so, we found that compromise and that arrangement early on, that it really, um, you know, he was okay with me taking over that part of the practice.
I love that so much because that is one of the biggest challenges in partnerships is there's this um, duality of senior partner, junior partner, and senior partner wanting to hold on a little too long. And I know it works and do what I say. But I
Hmm.
love that you brought it up that he saw that I had the energy and the vision to grow the practice. That's huge.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm very thankful, and I think that's why our partnership works so well. Is that he saw that, realized that, and was at a place in his career that he was okay, kind of giving that up. And so, being a partner, I mean, the great things. I mean, there's, as far as the technology we were able to bring in the practice, having a I'm not sure you'd call it a big practice, but a bigger practice that having three doctors in it. I can't imagine honestly practicing by myself. Is that it's being able to take more vacation, more kind of revenue in the practice to have better technology and things like that. I would have a really hard time, and also just kind of the camaraderie of having other dentists in the office. It's great having people in the office that you can run things by. If you have a tough case or you have a great case or you have a crazy looking x-ray or anything, it's just nice to have other people and other dentists in the office that you can bounce things off of. So I've always appreciated that.
Well, it has been wonderful watching you. We've been a part of a small part of your journey for 10 years. And you and Randy really do seem to complement each other clinically. And you're both very astute. You're both very comprehensive. You seem to have a hunger to stay on the edge. Um, or, I mean, are you still doing amalgam fillings or?
Gosh, I can't imagine. I mean, the last amalgam I did was in dental school, and and we I think that's one thing we always shared was our appreciation for technology and what that would do in our practice. Randy, he had the first CEREC machine in Northern Nevada
Oh,
when I
wow.
joined the practice, and so so he always saw and was excited about technology. And we really run with that, and I think that's been a part of our success. And that we are a very profitable practice because of a lot of it, because of the procedures that we do, but also the technology that we use. I was looking over our P&Ls recently and just looking at our lab bills, and I don't know exactly what the average is for. I think what 8%, 10%, something like that is the average lab bill for a dentist. And ours is usually around 3%. And
Because you
so,
have in-house CIRAC and other things.
mhm. Yeah, just because we do, I mean, I do almost everything with with CEREC, with implant planning for implants, for obviously the kind of the day-to-day crowns and bridges and things like that. I mean, probably one of my favorite procedures that I just absolutely love is the same day smiles that we do in the office, which is a crazy profitable procedure when you're doing anterior teeth with CEREC, and not having those big lab bills. And so,
Yeah.
Definitely having that, the technology in our practice, and that Randy and I being on the same page and not fighting each other over, or both being on board with the technology that we have has been a huge benefit.
I love it. A lot of dentists, as you're not even close to being older yet. You're only 44, but there's this wave of unsolicited offers hitting doctors' desks saying, please
Oh,
join our
yes.
group, join our DSO, because we take the headache of management off your shoulders. You don't sound stressed out about managing the practice.
Well, I'll tell you, it's certainly been a process. To get to that point is, I agree. I think it's a really interesting time that we're in dentistry right now, because you get. I mean, I get in the mail probably every week. I get something from some DSO, or I get probably 10 emails a week about, check this out, and this is how much we'll give you, and so it is an interesting time trying to balance that and try to figure out what's right, what to do with a practice our size. I have chosen, I think at this point, because the practice is very profitable and we put a lot of effort into the team and the culture and the management and those kind of things, is that, there's certainly stresses there, but a lot of things, because of the systems and everything else, are somewhat on autopilot, which is an awesome place to be. And so, because we've worked so hard to get to this point, like for me personally right now, it doesn't feel like it's the right time to kind of give that up, just because there potentially could be a big payout. And I'm not sure from the dentists that I've spoken with that have sold to DSOs. I've kind of gotten varied opinions, but that the idea that they're going to take everything off of your plate, I'm not sure that's really the reality. You still got to be there in the office. You still have to, there's still, manage your team, because they're not there and they're with you. So, and kind of build the culture and those things that I think that they can't do for you.
True. And I remember you and I having this conversation, I don't know, a few months ago. You got an offer and you go, what do you think? And I go, well, you need to have at least 20% EBITDA. And you're like, well, I'm at 38%. Do you think that's okay? And we don't have to share numbers if you're not comfortable, but I wanted all the listeners to understand you have built an investment grade practice and you're reaping the benefits of that investment. So, there is this tipping point where, as you said, the systems are running, the team culture is in place. It's not totally self-managed, but it's self-governed. You have people around you that you trust, and your profit margins go up and up and up as debt goes down, down, down. And you get to this point of, well, why would I sell? In essence, what you're doing is you're hiring someone to come in and make it this efficient and fun. And
Right.
you're already there and you get to reap the benefit of this for the next 10 years. You've got 38% margin for the next 10 years. That's far better than a payout. And you're still growing. How did your mindset shift once you own the practice 100%? I'm really curious about that, because we talked about that a little bit and you're like, man, I'm ready for the next phase.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think certainly just owning 100% of the practice, it just kind of, it was definitely a shift for me. We've always been, I guess, growth focused. I mean, we've always done our planning and really looked at our numbers, and not that we haven't been focused on growth, but like I said, some of it was more focused on kind of lifestyle and working a certain amount of days, and being very productive within those hours. But I guess it's just that change of mindset of, now that I own the practice completely, is it just kind of feels like now there's that next step of where do we go from here. And it's been, a lot of back and forth, because, there are the offers out there, and I've talked with DSOs, and I know, I have a pretty decent idea of what our practice would be worth. And just recently have kind of made that decision that we're not going to go down that road right now. And, we just had an opportunity to buy the building that we're in, so we're kind of in full growth mode. We're expanding. We're bringing on, for sure we're bringing on, one more dentist this year, and then probably another the following year. And yeah, so it has been a total mind shift. And it's hard to say why, except for it just feels right. It's just kind of a time. It's like, okay, you know what, this is the time that, that it just feels like this is the next evolution in the practice. And it's exciting, and I think that's part of the reason I don't have really interest in giving up the practice and some of the control of the practice, because right now I feel like we're at that point where it's actually fun and exciting, and I want to be part of that.
Love it.
So
Well, and you've got because of the productive systems you have in place, the formulary for growing 10%, 20%, 30% in a year. And
mhm.
not effortlessly, but you can start new cycles of growth. I also love that you are investing in another asset. So you have the asset of the practice. Now you're getting the asset of the building. So you're really moving into this third stage of ownership, where first stage
Mhm.
is liability, like top ramen and salad is great. Right.
Yes.
And you're starting the family and you're starting the business, and it's all exciting, but it's pretty lean, and you're just wondering, did you ever feel like, can you remember feeling like, how in the world will I ever pay this debt? And now you're like
Oh,
really worried about it.
yes, 100%. I mean, I remember, when I first bought into the practice, and just, I mean, it just seemed so overwhelming that there was no way that, that you could make it happen. And yeah, I mean, you wish you could have that perspective now that that you have now, to look back and
Mhm.
realize that it's all going to be fine. But oh my gosh, yeah, it's, and I think that that's, as a young dentist today, I'm not sure. It's hard to say, whether I'd want to start my career in today's environment, just because I think it's tougher and tougher for younger dentists to find opportunities that aren't kind of corporate based, and be able to kind of follow their vision. I mean, I think most people or a lot of people go into dentistry because they kind of have that entrepreneurial spirit, and they want to own a business. And I think in a way that's becoming a little bit tougher than it has been in the past.
Yeah. But you're proving that it's a worthy endeavor.
Oh, 100%. Um,
And I'll tell you, I talked to a lot of millennial dentists, and excuse me, there are some hotshots out there that, if you are entrepreneurial and you've got charisma like you have, the young doctors are saying, they're planting the stake and saying, hey, I'll build my practice. I'm going to get amazing. Then I get a second location. And then they bring all their buddies in who don't want to be entrepreneurs, and they grow these
mhm.
small 5 to 10 to 20 practice private groups, not private equity backed, but just
Right.
doctor groups, which are really cool too. So I think the millennials are extremely entrepreneurial and looking for mentors like you who have done it, who just give them this confidence. So it's really valuable and important for you to be here today, sharing your journey.
So yeah, and I definitely have seen that. I know that the dentist that we're just in the process of hiring right now. I mean, one of his biggest, I mean, he's in the corporate world looking to get out of that, but he's just dying for mentorship. He just dying to have somebody to kind of, in a way, kind of show him the path of ownership, and obviously clinical dentistry as well. But I think that that's something that's unfortunately lacking in the corporate world. Is that the dentists come out and they need to make a paycheck, and they join certain practices, but they never in that environment kind of get that mentorship, that you could get in a private practice. And so for me personally, it's important, at this stage, to be able to provide that, and kind of, keep the keep the dream alive, I guess, of private ownership.
Yeah. Do you think that's the key to good partnerships, is being willing to mentor and share?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no perfect partnership and there's no perfect scenario, but I think that in my mind, a good partnership scenario is, a little more experienced dentist and a newer dentist.
Mhm.
Because you get that, the older dentist can mentor and provide some knowledge, and kind of streamline the process of, hopefully minimizing some of the bumps along the way. um, and then you have the younger dentist that kind of has the excitement and the energy and the, the and the drive, partly
Yeah.
probably just because they're new, and partly because they got to pay their bills.
They'll work 4 days a
But
week.
yeah, exactly. But they have that drive and excitement. And so I think that's a good situation for a lot of partnerships, is that kind of that mentorship model. I think it does work really, really well.
How do you stay on top of, some of the things that really are stressful for owners in a private situation are accounting and taxes and payroll taxes and all of that kind of stuff. How do you organize the financial aspect of the business so that it runs like clockwork?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think honestly is surround yourself with good people. That's something that I've always believed in. Is that there's certain things that I do well and certain things that I enjoy doing and certain things that should be done by others, and a lot of things that should be done by others. And so I think that we have done a good job of really surrounding ourselves and hiring a lot of the right people. I mean, obviously with our relationship with you guys has been one of our greatest decisions, was to join PDA and start there, because you guys have had so many resources for us over the years, and connections and relationships and things. And so, I think with a practice that is our size, we've certainly had to hire a lot of those things out of the practice. But I think it's just finding the right people. It's just finding and trusting them that they know what they're doing, and having that relationship with a good CPA and a good financial planner, and someone that is an expert in their field that can advise you on those things.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot, like knowing your end goal. Talking to you is so much fun because you're like, I know what my total term is. I know what my financial freedom number is, and I'm working towards that. And if I make this choice to create this asset, then I know that it might take me a little bit longer, but I'll develop a more secure asset and a longer term asset. I mean, it's fun to watch you play the game. You and Bruce seem to be very similar in that way, that business is a game, and you have these internal dialogues with yourself that says, how can I optimize this? And what do I do there? It's fun to watch.
Yeah. For sure. Is that I think that the business side of dentistry is something that I've always enjoyed. If there's one thing I would, for the listeners to kind of encourage everyone, is to really understand like the numbers in your business and your personal life, is understanding. I mean, there's so much clarity that comes from looking at your numbers, understanding your numbers, and then like on the personal financial side, like you mentioned, kind of the, total term, and what does that number need to be to retire? And that it's so much easier to make decisions when you have that information, and one of the most impactful courses, it's funny. I mean, I've done SPEAR, I've done a million different clinical courses that have all been great for the clinical side of dentistry. But, when you guys did driving the bus, which is just, the kind of the business management, understanding the numbers and setting up budgets and those things, for our business, there's hands down, there was not a better course than that one that we took that kind of brought that to the forefront, where you look at it, you're like, man, I got to understand my numbers and what all this means, and kind of setting budgets and really running it like a business. I think dentistry has been profitable enough for most that they can just kind of show up and do it and still make a good living and you do what they want to do. But that really took it to the next level for us, was understanding those numbers and being able to make decisions based off of that understanding.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was really going back in time, and I remember one of the very first thank you notes I ever got from a spouse was from Kelly after you went to driving the bus and you came back. And she said, thank you for giving me my husband back. He's no longer working nights and weekends to balance the business and clinical side of life. And that was really so special to me, that as a spouse, she noticed your stress going down and that you got so much more organized.
Yeah. And so I think that is huge, is understanding those numbers and really how to run your business like a business. Is something that I think a lot of dentists maybe they don't enjoy it. Maybe they're just too busy on the clinical side, but has made a huge difference for, for our practice. And maybe the other encouragement, something that we've always done in PDA, which has been kind of our highlight of the year, is doing that annual planning, spending time looking at your business and setting goals and looking at the year to come and looking at how much time off you're going to take and kind of working backwards from there. Is that, well, that, and that's always been, I mean, we made you guys, we made you guys come out here, the year that we didn't have the annual planning. We made our own annual planning.
Yeah, there were 2 years that, we started doing it every other year for whatever reason. And those particular years we weren't having. One, you came out to Anacortes and you saw us. And the other one, we met in Tahoe and went to dinner in Truckee and had such a
I know. Time. That was awesome.
Well, we are definitely having it this year. You'll be one of the first to know. It's going to be in September. So September 22nd through 24th. Go ahead and mark your calendar.
Oh, perfect.
The way that November, December's on top of the pandemic crunch, we thought we better back this up. And I know that you and a lot of our clients are updating your plans quarterly now or every 6 months. We're not even going out a whole year because, like you say, I'm bringing on an associate now. How will that impact my schedule? Then maybe another one. So we're starting to shorten the timeframes a little bit and looking at more like do a 12-month rollout, but every 6 months, look at it again and roll it back out and roll it back out. So we're going to be doing that in Dallas, September 22nd through the 24th. And awesome. Taking it to a whole new level. I can't tell you all my special guests.
Oh, yeah?
You are going to love it. You are going to love it.
We can't wait. That's always a highlight for us. And yeah, we are doing it quarterly now, with our coach, who I got to give a little shout out to is Chris, who's awesome. More of a member of our family than our coach now, but yeah, we do that quarterly now, is that we're meeting and doing more of our kind of business planning and things that we used to do annually, just because we got a lot going on, which needs to be figured out. So
it just rolls off your tongue, your confidence, your business acumen, your clinical acumen. You're like, well, of course I meet with my coach and we do this and we do that. It's so wonderful to see an example of someone who's integrated so many moving parts. One more topic I want to hit on, because I know this is a passion of yours as well,
sure.
is marketing. I remember when Kelly joined your practice, and you and Randy, not that you were like Tarzan beating your chest, but you were very strong masculine energy and figures in this practice. And we bring in this beautiful blonde, blue-eyed mom and her energy in it, and it changed everything. And for me, I thought it made your marketing even stronger. Do you want to talk about marketing a little bit?
Yeah, I'd love to. I love marketing. I think marketing, well, yes, I agree with all that, is that, one, just having Kelly join the practice, having the kind of a woman's touch and something that, there's a lot of patients out there that would prefer to see a female dentist that, kind of are looking for maybe a little bit different experience, a little softer side and things like that. And so, having Kelly join the practice was amazing. And the marketing of that was really fun, because it did kind of change our marketing message, from technology and all the things that we always did to, like, now we have something else that we can offer. And I think marketing is something that maybe most dentists just don't understand the importance of. That's been such a huge part of our business. And I don't know, what is the average dentist spend on marketing? I don't even know. What's a percent or two?
Average is such a big word, but let's say that you are a doctor in a heavy PPO environment. You're probably dollars out the door spending 0.5% to 1.5%, but you don't realize you're spending 40% in the 25 to 40% of unseen dollars with your write-offs. So I think they actually end up spending more than you, but it feels less.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so our marketing budget is obviously a lot higher than that. We're probably in the 5%. And easily could go up from there, and probably will go up from there, just as we're growing and changing the message a little bit. But yeah, I think marketing is something that if someone is not doing that, they're kind of missing the boat for sure. And that's like kind of the next evolution of our practice. That one of the reasons I am excited to bring on some more doctors and things like that is that I'll be able to cut back some in my schedule, which will be great. Kind of the goal to go to 2 days and really to expand into the procedures that I love doing the most, with implants and the same day smiles and those kind of things. And a lot of those things, I mean, you can do a lot of great internal marketing, which is awesome. But when you start getting into more of those targeted procedures and the higher profit procedures, is you really got to let the world know that you're out there, let them know what you're doing and that you're there to help them out. So, anyway, huge proponent of marketing, and kind of making that shift between, you're right. If you're, when you're signed up with PPOs and you're giving away 20, 30, 40%, off the top, just to get patients in your practice, that money is much better spent, spending 4, 5, 6% of your budget, getting patients in. So, yes.
Yeah. And I would say that, in the Reno, Carson City area, I don't think that you're any different demographically than most of America, where insurance is prolific. A lot of people take it. A lot of people feel like they have to take it, but you're a fairly fee for service or indemnity based insurance practice where patients pay their copay, and you're not locked in network, are you?
We do have some. Is that we're in Carson City. It's such a that's obviously the capital, and so we have a lot of state patients, and that's kind of our big kind of PPO contract that we have currently.
Yeah.
But I can say we are very actively trying to distance ourselves as much as we can from that. And it's certainly a process, and probably not the something to discuss today, because I know there's a lot to that, but
there's so much to that. Well, what I love though is that you've made space for everyone, right? You grew the practice beyond one service mix. So I love that you've got a heart for people who work for the state. You can still take care of them and their families. And you have the aesthetic component. You've got Botox, you've got implants, you've got same day smiles. You grew your service mix beyond the insurable component. And that makes it really robust. It makes it economically almost bulletproof. The marketing dollars, as you said, you've got 4 to 6% going external. You're also spending money on team training and internal marketing and all of those things. So thank you for being here today and showing. I wish we had 2 hours. I know that if you're there in September, a lot of young doctors are going to come and pick your brain, because being an investment grade leader, you're modeling the way. I want to have you back, and we could spend an entire episode on leadership and what that means to you and how you're raising leaders in the practice. I know your team, and you're not dragging followers. You certainly are inspiring leaders. And
well, thank you. And yes, I would love to talk anytime, and to if I do run into some of those dentists out there, please come and talk to me, because I feel strongly about mentorship and passing along, not that I know everything, but just passing along what I do know, to anybody that's out there. And I think that that's something, especially at this stage of my career, that I'm probably most excited about, is being able to pass along some of that knowledge, whether it's clinical or business and things like that. So I'm available anytime, Victoria. You just let me know. So, but I super appreciate you having me on. It's been fun to share a little bit, and it's always great to spend time with you.
Clint, you're the best.
Oh, well, thank you. You as well. I can't thank you guys enough for what you've done for our business and just the relationships, and we are excited. I mean, it's been such a bummer with COVID and things that's tougher to travel and get groups together and all that. And so we will be there in September, because that's always a highlight for us, is seeing our PDA family. So thank you guys.
I love it. Thanks so much, Clint.
So, well, you're welcome. Thank you.
I have a question for you. It's the end of March. Your CPA is preparing your first quarter financials. Are you excited to see the result, or do you have a little bit of hesitancy, wondering if you're profitable enough to sustain the business and move it forward? You see, at Productive Dentist Academy, we know that looking at a profit and loss statement, looking at budget versus actual can be daunting. And that's why 18 years ago, my partner, Dr. Bruce Baird, and I created the Productivity Workshop. If you're wondering, what are the benchmarks for my practice and how do I move my practice forward? How do I clearly articulate my vision and the passion that I have so that my team want to join me in this endeavor? How do I elevate patient care so that I'm not at the mercy of insurance limitations? These are all things that we cover at our signature productivity workshop. Our next one is September 22nd through the 24th in Frisco, Texas. And I certainly hope that you and your team can come and learn the exact tools that we not only have shared with thousands of dental practices across the country to help them be successful, but they're the exact tools that I used in my own network of 5 dental practices that helped me create a sustainable legacy company that is thriving today. So to make things a little bit easier as you're looking at your P&L and wondering, is this a great time to invest in myself and my team? If you sign up during the month of April, this gives us plenty of time to work with you between now and the September workshop. You won't have to wait another few more months to get the benefits of signing up. So sign up in the month of April. We will open up our PDA online program. It's a recording of a previous PDA workshop. You'll have access to a full year following our workshop. You will also have a complimentary 2-hour business session with some of my top business coaches. Every day of the week, they are helping doctors build investment grade practices, building the value of their business, securing the system so that they are durable. And it's our gift to you to work with one of these high-level coaches to identify opportunities before you come to the workshop. We did this in February, and I will have to say that the doctors who took advantage of it were sharing stories that they were already up $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $200 an hour. So here's the challenge right now. Pick up a pencil, write down the number of hours that you work per month. Let's say 114. Multiply that by 100. Now, what could you do with an extra $11,000 per month? If you're ready to get started on the journey, I encourage you to check out productivedentist.com. You can reserve your spot by going to productivedentist.com/workshop and get in touch with our team and see what we can do to help move you forward.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Investment Grade Practices Podcast. If you find value in this episode, help us spread the word by passing it along to a dental friend, subscribe, and give us a like on iTunes or Spotify. Learn more about building your investment grade practice at productivedentist.com today.